welcome to my Mompreneur studio. I'm Anisa Crespo, and you have tuned into a very special series of my podcast, She Swaps, which is called Celebrate Mom, because Mother's Day is coming up. And we just want to celebrate the beautiful moms that are in our lives. And today I'm talking to a really, really special one. So, Renee is a neuro coach and an educational consultant. And without further ado, I will welcome her on and let her share all about her journey. So, Renee, welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So please, you've got a lot of stuff going on. You've got a lot of experience, a lot of insight to offer. I would love for you to just share about your journey, about motherhood, and anything else you'd like to talk about.
Okay. Well, gosh. Okay. I guess I better start a little bit about my background. Motherhood is the most important thing in the world to me. I'm a mother. I've been a single mother of six children, raised six, four boys, two girls, and now I'm a nana of seven grandchildren. So that's my most blessed title that I hold. I feel very privileged to have that title. So my journey, I guess, began in the year 2000. I guess the journey that I'm currently still on and unfolding. In the year 2000, I found myself, sadly, not my choice, a single mother. And all of a sudden, I was raising six children, and they were ranging in ages from 12 down to two. I had twin boys who were still in diapers at two. And oh my goodness, here I was, a single parent. Did not want it, did not plan it, but had to keep going. I figure my mother always told me it was a poor ball that can't bounce twice. And I either could step up or cover up. And I chose to step up. I had lots of children looking up at me saying, "Now what, mom?" And so I had lost, sadly, both my parents. My father had died in the year 2000. My husband sadly left the following day. And my mother got pancreatic cancer and died about 9 months later. So it was a turning point in my life. It was a very, very hard year. I pretty much lost everything. I lost the money. We were a family that had a wonderful income, and I lost my home almost to foreclosure. I saved it in the end, filed bankruptcy. I was a stay at home mother and helped my husband in his practice. He was a medical professional. And so I had to gather my thoughts and gather my strength and bounce back, like my mother said about that ball that bounces back. I went into teaching because I had to stay on my children's schedule. I couldn't afford help, and I had babies in diapers, and I had kids in school, and I was homeschooling at the time. Had to put them back into school, and I chose Catholic school, which was my background. I'm a faith-filled Catholic believer and have been my whole life. And so I chose a private Catholic school for them and just continued on. I became a teacher. I had always tutored and homeschooled, but I did not have, I had my degree in speech communications and theater, but I did not have a teaching certification. So I went back as I was teaching and got that. Got my teaching certification, taught for almost 10 years in the same school, and then went for my master's in educational administration. I saw the need to make a little bit more money. Sadly, in Catholic education, unlike public school, there's not a lot to be made, but I made enough to survive and barely, but we did. And I was on my children's schedule, which was the most important thing for me. And so I became an administrator, a principal of schools, and that gave me a little bit more money to play with and to help with my children with as they transitioned on into high school, private high school, and then on into college. So that was the beginning of my adventure in life. For many years, I saw it as a setback. Because all of a sudden did not want to be divorced, was left with all these children to raise, be a single mother. And I thought, oh my goodness, I had no family all of a sudden. I was an only child. Dad had died husband had left and mom was dying. And so I thought, oh my goodness, what in the world are you trying to teach me, Lord? And it was not a setback, it was a setup. And I think I really so much happened in the last space of 24 years. I taught for many years. I was an educational administrator for many years, ran campuses and schools and faculties, and advised and coached not only teachers and students, but parents as well. And a couple of years ago, after COVID, which, whew, that was crazy being an educational administrator during COVID, I transitioned out of schools and decided my life needed to open a new chapter. And that's when I listened to God in my heart and found my calling. Had always thought about it, knew about it, but needed to just take that next step, which is the name of my company, my coaching company. The next step, I needed to have faith and take that next step, which I did, and became a neuro coach, coaching women through, just like myself, finding their purpose in life, opening their next chapter, surviving and navigating all these transitions that we experience, especially women who are perhaps single mothers or women who are in their second half of life. We've had a whole life. We've raised our children, right? We've had our first careers, or sometimes our first and second careers, and we're looking at our life. Our children have flown the nest, flown and grown, and we're looking at our life trying to figure out what's our next step. So been really important to me. It's a mission that I adopted as a neuro coach because it's something I didn't have. I did not have a coach. I did not have a mentor. All of this that happened in those 24 years of all of a sudden single motherhood, bankruptcy, no money. I had illnesses, there were setbacks, all sorts of things. All of that happened to me, I did not have an avenue to follow, a mentor to coach me. And a lot of trial and error, you know? And so I laughingly say I was the poster child for what not to do. We made a lot of mistakes. And that drove me, so like we talk about, sometimes our setbacks are setups. And I think those mistakes that I made, or missteps, as I call them, just drove me to want to have a mission to help other women through those really stressful, life-changing, significant transitions in their life, to help them navigate them way easier, much more quickly, much more efficiently than I did. And so that's my mission. That's my new chapter and my new vision. It's been a couple of years now, and lots of things are unfolding. So it's been good. I've just tried to stay really positive and really engaged, and I just don't quit.
I absolutely love everything about it and everything about you. I don't have a similar story to you, but so much of your story resonates with me. I'm not a single mom, but I was raised by a single mom. So that right there is, I mean, things that I've learned from my mom really shape who I am today. My mom always taught me, because she was divorced when I was 9 months old. My brother was, I think, 5 at the time. And she always taught me that it's perfectly fine and absolutely wonderful to have a man in your life, providing he treats you right. But you need to be able to take care of yourself without him, no matter what, because anything is possible. Anything could happen. She never prepared to be divorced. Some
Right.
people are widowed. They don't prepare for these things, and it could happen. So she said, no matter what, you have your man as long as he's treating you right, but you take care of yourself. And if the time comes, your children. So that's something that stuck
Wow.
with me. And that is something that I will take to the grave. So the other thing is, my mom was the sixth person in my family to pass away from pancreatic cancer. So I am no stranger to it. It is a deadly, deadly miserable disease, and there's no cure for it. And
Mhm.
actually, with her, she was diagnosed 2 months later. She had what they call as the Whipple surgery, which can't cure the cancer, but it can prolong your life. But it's like, what kind of life?
It's
So,
quality over quantity.
absolutely. And actually, thank God she did not make it out of that surgery. So at the time, I was an absolute train wreck. I mean, I had just lost my best friend unexpectedly. I was actually engaged that year. So one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life was crossing my mom off of my wedding guest list. And
Wow.
she never got
Yes.
to meet my children, but she was no longer suffering. So
Right.
I had a really hard year that year, absolute basket case, but I got through it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
through it, and now I'm at peace with it, of course. And there's so many things about her that I carry with me, like the one I just mentioned. And and I know she is with me. So I know how
Absolutely.
that is. 18 months prior to her passing away, my dad had passed away from like multiple strokes, and he had pancreatitis. And I didn't have a
Wow.
close relationship with him, but it was still my dad. So
Wow.
um,
We
just
have a
the
lot in common.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
the other thing is, like, you mentioned the bankruptcy. I am actually writing a book right now. It's called Bankruptcy to Bankroll, because I have made a full recovery from a bankruptcy. A lot of
Awesome.
people think it's the end of the line, and it's actually a new beginning.
It
Um,
is.
it
It
really
is.
is. When you're in it and when you're going through it, it seems like the worst possible thing ever. And for
Does.
me, it was like COVID related, and we went through all this different stuff. But we made it out. And I have had so much trauma and so many setbacks in my life, but the important thing to note is that every setback I've ever had, my comebacks are 10x. So
That's
they're
right.
all blessings.
That's right. That's
Um,
exactly right. You're exactly right. Those setbacks
yeah.
can be complete setups. And I tell the story often when I'm speaking on a stage or speaking to a group of people about the donkey that got thrown into the well. There's a story about a donkey, and a farmer didn't want him anymore, thought he was worthless, threw him down into a long, deep well, and decided with his farmer friends would bury him, and kept throwing shovels of dirt upon the donkey in the well. And I'm paraphrasing quickly, but um, instead of being buried under the dirt, under the stress, under all that we go through in our lives, that donkey used the dirt to make a mound and to step up and to step up and to step up and eventually step out of that well. And I like to think about that story because I like to think about that's what I've tried to do for the last 24 years of my life, is to just use the dirt, use the things that are thrown on you, use that stress, use everything you've got, all your reserves, and just keep stepping up. And that's what you did. And that's what I
Yes.
hope I'm doing.
Yes,
And
I love that. It's so true. It's absolutely critical that when life throws up us those things and tries to throw dirt on us, we make steps out of it. I love that. I love it. And
absolutely.
and
Yep.
I absolutely have done that my entire life. I've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations. But now, much like you, one of the things I do is coach women on how to define and then fund their missions. And I
Right.
I work more with women that are, moms with younger children, and you're
Right.
probably working more with women who are empty nested and
Right.
at that second stage of their life where they're like, okay, well, now what?
Right.
And I just
Right.
love it. I think we share that. And the other thing is, I started my entrepreneurial journey back during COVID, and I self-taught myself everything.
Mhm.
Every single thing I learned completely on my own. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way, but it's one of the reasons why I'm able to help women now, because I can fast track them through that and say, like, don't do
Right.
that. Like, if I had to
Right.
go back and do it all over again, I would have hired a coach, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
So
If I
so
could
I
have found one that spoke to me and that, I could really
yes.
resonate with, which I eventually did with the neuro coaching, but it's hard to find someone because at the time you're going through it, you don't actually know how or who to reach out to. And that's what I'm hoping to change for women who don't have any idea how to reach out or who to reach out to and what you need at the time, because you're in the middle, you're in the muck and the mire. And you're exactly right. And I guess when we have to learn it on our own, we develop a plan, we develop resilience, we develop grit. Um, and I just wrote a chapter for one of the She Rises anthology books, and the title of my chapter is Girls with Grits. And because I'm from the South, I'm from Texas, and so we eat grits, and but it's an acronym for something other than the hominy that you eat and cook up for breakfast. So we develop that, right? Though, as we go through these challenges, and we develop our grits, and I call it, the acronym is grace, resilience, integrity, tenacity, and sass and sparkle.
Oh,
That's
I love it. I just love it. I can't
those
wait
are
to
my
read your
grits.
chapter. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I hope it's a fun book. And the book is called Sassy, Classy, and Badassy. Very funny, very cute. But when I told my friends about it, they said, "Oh my gosh, Renee, that is so you. You got to write for that book." So I did, and now I'm writing one that really touches my heart. Another anthology for women of unstoppable faith. So yeah, I'm excited. So
Beautiful.
yes, because that's obviously at the center of everything I do, is my relationship with God and my faith. So
Absolutely.
I don't know how
100%.
people navigate, right? These credible, like you've described so beautifully, the transitions you've been through and the setbacks that you've overcome, and how people navigate that without a faith is beyond me. I can't, I don't even know how they do that, because it's seemingly to be no purpose. But when we look at it through the eyes of faith, we're always saying, what are you trying to teach me, God? What are you showing me? And something that God has shown me over the years, what you just said really resonated with me, that your mother gave to you, which was that gift of saying, you on your own can make it. You on your own can be a strong, competent, capable woman. I was raised in a little bit different era. My parents did not give that to me. They didn't know any better. That was not the era they were raised in. And so my era, where I was you'll marry and your husband will take care of you. And I have to say, I've spent a lot of my life since my husband and I split and he left. I've spent a lot of my life in very bad relationships, very bad, abusive relationships, physically, emotionally, psychologically, horrible situations. Because when, I was dealing with a severe loss in my life, and I didn't have the best self-esteem after all of that happened. And my children, they saw me getting up, not covering up, stepping up, working hard. I didn't teach them what your mother actually told you about you can do it. And it's funny, I guess they just somehow intuitively got it, that you could keep going. Now they advise me, they've advised me in my life, Mom, you don't need a man. You have the ingenuity, the capability, the intelligence to make it on your own. So they've been some of my best advisors over the course of my life. Not that my mother wasn't, she was my best friend, but they were from a different time. And their advice wasn't what I would have loved to have had. But again, like you said, sometimes you have to make it on your own. And so I hope that I was that example for my children. Now my girls, all my children are gainfully employed, doing well, but my girls are very independent, very wonderful marriages, wonderful families. But like you, at your age, doing lots, entrepreneurial, very hard workers, great work ethic, but they always have the knowledge that they are self-sufficient unto themselves, that they by themselves can make it in this world. And that's something I've gained, the knowledge I've gained over time. Wished I'd had it when I was your age. That would have been a whole different story. But if I hadn't lived the story I lived, I might not be able to understand, hold space for the women who are in my situation now in their second half of life, trying to recover from that mentality.
Well, that's exactly right. And I say the same things. Like, it really built character going through all of those different things for me. Had I not gone through those things, then I'm sure God could work through me in other ways, but he gets to work through me so that I can help other women. And I mean, what a beautiful thing. I was in a male dominated industry for over 10 years, and I literally woke up one day and I was like, I have to help women. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't even know that I was going to be able to do it, but I was called to do it. He called on
Right.
me to do it. And then all of a sudden, God and the universe just started putting people and things and opportunities in my path so that I could carry out this mission. And now I'm on a
That's
mission
right.
to help 1,000 moms become mompreneurs and truly happy by the year 2030. And I was able to leave my 6-figure corporate job and just chase my dreams. And
Well,
I
wow.
I love it. It's
That
amazing.
is
And the
awesome.
other thing that you said, without faith, I could never have done it. One of the things that I do, not because I want to make like $3 on a t-shirt or a tumbler, but I create things in my online store like this. It says grateful and blessed. And then more importantly, on the other side, it says faith over fear, because
Absolutely.
that's part of my messaging and it's part of my mantra. It's how I live my
Yep.
life, because um I have to have faith. And when
That's
we
right.
worry about things, it doesn't help the situation. It doesn't make anything better. It
Right.
actually makes it worse. It makes us sick physically
Well,
sometimes.
it absolutely does, and I love the faith over fear. I have that sign hanging in my dressing room. I love it. It's so, and I wear a bracelet. I have these rubber, bracelets. One that says "I am enough," which I love. I'm
And you
worthy.
are.
And the other one is from Padre Pio, one of my favorite saints, and his quote, and I wear it and I wear it proudly and I look at it every day. What you just said, faith over fear. There's another way to say that. Pray, hope, and don't worry.
Yes, I love it.
And
I
I
love it.
love that. Yeah, yeah. So that's really important. We have to have that faith. That faith is got to be, as the book I'm doing the anthology chapter for, unshakable. We've got to have unshakable, unstoppable faith, because we are going to get shaken. We are going to be traumatized. We are going to hit roadblocks and obstacles. And the only way to overcome them is through that. Well, you have to have the faith at the center of all you do, and then God will equip you. I always like to say, there's a saying that says, and I'm sure you've heard it and everybody's heard it, but God does not call the equipped. God equips the called. And like you were called, I was called a little bit later in my life, but I was called to help women. And I think little by little, he's equipped me over the years, like he's equipped you to be able to hold space, to truly have compassion and empathize with these women, with what they're going through, and be a blessing to others. If we're not a blessing to others, we can't we can't fulfill our mission. And that's the only way we can fulfill our mission, is to pass on our faith and be a blessing to others, and lift them up, enlighten them, like we've been enlightened and we continue to be. This is not an end mark. We're on a journey, right? It's the
Yes.
process of the journey. And
No, God is the destination. We're just on this journey, and I just want to take as many women as possible with me. That's
yes,
just
me
what I want
too.
to do.
I love that. That's a great mission. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Renee, oh my goodness. As always, I have totally enjoyed our conversation today. And I'll make sure people have links to connect with you. But if
Okay.
somebody did want to reach out to you, what's the best way that they can connect with you?
Okay, so I am actually in transition of building my website again. I'm actually doing it again. So that I'm still in the process of redoing that, but I have my Facebook and I am the nextstepcoach.com on Facebook. It is I want to just tell you correctly, really quickly. On Facebook, it would be the Next Step Coach dash Neuro Coach Renee Ozier, which is my name. So just wanted to make sure. And it's The Next Step is the name of my company. And then on Instagram, it's the Next Step Coach _ Renee. So that's how they would reach out, leave me a message. And again, my website should be up within the month. I'm just revamping and redoing some things. And yes, I hope they do like and follow and reach out to me. I'm going to be having lives. I'm going to be holding webinars. I'm actually in the process of planning retreats for women. The first one should be in 2025. We're going to have a retreat in Tuscany. So
Ooh, I will
yes,
have to
it's going to
stay
be.
tuned for that one.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. So, and then the books are coming out, the anthology books, The Sassy, Classy, and Badassy, and Women of Unstoppable Faith. Those should be out towards the end of the summer, early fall. And then, gosh, I will have new offerings all the time on my social media pages. And then once my website is revamped, I'll get them on there as well. So a lot going on, building retreats, coaching. I'm always available for speaking engagements. I also do educational consulting. So I work with schools and educational consulting companies to work with teachers and administrators on mindset, broken belief busting, neuro coaching, all the things that I do with women. I do that with educators, leaders, and teachers as well. And so I'm always doing that. So yeah, like you, there's just a million and one plates that are spinning in the air right now.
Yes, we are mompreneurs. We wear a lot of
Yes,
hats, but it's a
we do.
brilliant thing. And you are an absolute light, just an energy that I love just being in the same room with you, even though it's a Zoom room, I'm
I
still in the same
know.
room with you and I can feel your energy and I love it. And if you could just leave our audience and especially to the moms out here with one more thing, what would it be?
Okay, what can I leave you with? Well, to the moms out there, and I would address the younger moms, like where you are. I can say you don't have to have the journey that I've had. It doesn't have to take you as long as it's taken me to come to this place of realization and enlightenment that I've found in my life. I think when we talked about faith over fear, so many women hold back from pursuing their dream career, their dream life. They think, is it God's will? Is it the world's? Who am I listening to? I'm not really sure. Just knowing in your heart, God has put something inside each of us. He's showing us because it's in our mind, it's in our dreams, it's in our desires and our passions. He's showing us what we are meant to do, our purpose on this earth. And sometimes we have many purposes, right? We go through different stages. We may have a new purpose in the second half of our life. But for moms out there, if they are feeling something and thinking about something that they want to pursue and want to do, that I hope they hold in their hearts faith over fear, and that they step forward, that they take, and this is why I called my company The Next Step, they take that next right step. And I want to say something about the next step. Sometimes we don't know if it's God that's leading us. We're insecure, we're unsure, we question ourselves. But if you just take the next right step, you may have to take a detour, right? That's part of journeys. Sometimes we have to detour if it's not the perfect place we need to be. That's okay. Detours can sometimes bring God's greatest blessings. What we want to remember as mothers and as entrepreneurs is you don't ever need to take a step back, right? We don't need to look in the rearview mirror. We need to look at the large plate of glass in front of us to see what's in front of us. And we need to take what we believe is the next right step, one at a time. God only gives us one brick, stone step at a time. It's all you need to do. You don't need to have the very end of the summit in mind. It's okay if you don't have it. Just the next right step. It helps you be able to move, to not be stuck in fear. If all you have to do is think of the next right step. You might have to detour, you might have to go around, but you never have to go backwards. Just knowing that God has you and that you are on a journey. I know it's a long way to say that, but the advice I want to leave for moms is don't be afraid to take that next step. You'll find out if it's the right one. If it's not quite a good fit, then you'll detour around it. And then you'll take the next right step after that. And that's all life is. That's all we can hope for, is that we, in good faith, asking God for us to do his will, all we can do is one right step at a time.
That's so beautiful. I love that so much. Renee, thank you. Thank you so, so much. And a very happy Mother's Day to you. And we will chat real soon.
Thanks so much. Good to see you.